Hello, everyone. This is Shane Lynn, MacArthur Museum of Arkansas Military History. Back with our Zoom interview series. Today, I have a very special guest, Rick Mustucchi from the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame is joining us today. And I'm really glad that you're here, Rick. So to start it all off, tell us exactly what is the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame?
Well, good morning, Shane, and thank you for doing this with us. I appreciate it. The Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame is a state-recognized 501c3 charity and educational organization that honors military veterans for their service.
And how did you get started with the program?
I got started with the program back in 2011 when it got started by Colonel Reynolds, and he called me up. I was working with him on some other things, and he called me up one day and says, "Rick, can you do me a favor?" And I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "Can you go pick up the Lieutenant Governor Saturday and fly him down to Conway?" That was up in Northeast Arkansas where he lived at the time. And I said, "Sure. What's going on?" He told me. He said, "Well, we're having a banquet for the first inductions of the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "I said, I would really like to see that." He said, "Well, we'll have, all right, for doing this, we'll have you a chair there." So anyway, I flew up and picked up the lieutenant governor, and I flew him into Conway. Conrad came over to the airport, picked us up, and we went to a banquet hall there in Conway. I had no idea what I was fixing to see. And I just got to tell you that when they started introducing the inductees in that first class of 2011, and they started reading the citations and the relating the actions that these people did, my jaw hit the floor. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. These were true heroes that did remarkable acts, and it's just awesome. And from that point on, I was gut hooked. I have not missed a banquet except for one in 2013 since then. So I've been to every banquet since then, and every year it never fails that I'm just absolutely just flabbergasted at some of the things some of these heroes have done.
Well, and that's saying something. You're a veteran yourself. Could you talk a little bit about your military career, if you don't mind?
No, I don't mind. I'm a retired Army officer. I was drafted into the United States Army and back in 1967, kicking and screaming, and found out that that's what I needed at that time. And I went to officers candidate school, got my commission, and then I was fortunate enough to get into the Special Forces Officers Course at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and went through that. And then for the subsequent time after that, I served in different capacities as in Special Forces and in regular engineer units in the Army, which I was commissioned in the Corps of Engineers, and retired after 28 years.
Well, I got to meet you through the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame, and as you were saying, the banquet is very special. Last year I attended, it was my first one, and it was very special. There were 2 Medal of Honor recipients who were inducted into the Hall of Fame, one from the Civil War, but the other was also Arkansas's only Medal of Honor living recipient, John Canley. And it was very special. Can you tell us some other notable individuals that are inductees into the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame?
Yes, sir, I can. First off, we have approximately 20, I think it's 27 now, Medal of Honor winners that are from Arkansas. They're in the Hall of Fame. And again, only one is living, and that's Sergeant Major Canley, who has received his Medal of Honor for actions during the TED of 1968 offensive in Way. One of the special ones to me that's in, and when I heard this at the 2017 banquet, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. This gentleman was born. He's born in Illinois. He was raised in Piggott, Arkansas, and he received his commission in the Marine Corps in 1929. His name was Alvin Brian Laswell, Laswell. And if you remember the movie Midway, there's a scene in there where Admiral Halsey goes over to his intelligence people's section, in their little cubbyhole they have, and he wants to talk to them because the things he's getting, the intel he's getting from his organization there in Honolulu is different from what the intel gurus in Washington are telling him. And he's trying to decide who to listen to, because this is early in the war, and the whole fate of the American fleet sometimes is depending on what's fixing to happen next. Well, the scene is where Halsey goes in and sees a commander named Rockford, and this happens to be Lieutenant Colonel at that time, Major Lasswell's boss. It's kind of correct, but actually Halsey went there to talk to the analyst that actually came up with the information that the Japanese were going to strike at Midway, and that was Alvin Laswell. And Alvin Leswell retired as a colonel in the Marine Corps. He has a Legion of Merit, which is pretty significant for an individual, but he has no Valor Awards. Yet this one man from Piggott, Arkansas, changed the course of World War II. And he did that not once, but he did it 3 times. The things he came up with, this one man, enabled us to have a victory at Midway. It enabled us to intercept Admiral Yamamoto as he was traveling around the Pacific on a tour of the Japanese installations, and shoot down his airplane. That had an enormous impact on the naval operations in the Pacific. And the third thing was, he also found out and was able to decrypt coded Japanese messages, naval messages, that there were 28 submarines being set up to interdict General MacArthur's when he came into the Philippines, his ship. They were able to sink every one of those submarines, and General MacArthur was able to get into the Philippines alive and not hurt. 3 things one man did.
And from Arkansas.
From Arkansas, that's correct.
Well, how did you? I think we talked a little bit about how you first got to know about the Hall of Fame, but could you go into more detail of what your role is now and how you got involved with this role that you're currently in?
All right. In 2019, I was invited to be on the board, and said yes. The board of directors for the Hall of Fame, which is composed of up to currently we have 12 people right now. Normally we seat 15 people. A year and a half ago, I was elected the board secretary, and I've been serving in that function now for almost 2 years.
Well, we talk about the banquet, and we've been talking about it, and it's in December or November. Is it November or December?
We try to hold it as close to Armistice Day in November as we can. Okay. And it has happened in October, but it's only because we couldn't get the venue reserved.
Well, could you go into a little bit about how people get inducted into the Arkansas Military Hall of Fame? If someone is interested in a relative or loved one, how do they go about doing that?
Well, first off, let me tell you that we have criteria to even be nominated. One, you have to either be born in Arkansas, have lived in Arkansas for at least 8 years, and this qualifies you to be in the Arkansas Military Hall of Fame, or to be nominated to the Arkansas Military Hall of Fame. We have 2 categories of inductees. Category 1 is for basically for people who are who have been on active duty, and for their actions while they were on active duty in the service of the United States military. And these include people who get like the Medal of Honor or the Bronze Star with a V or Silver Stars. And at this time, also for significant actions like Colonel Lasswell did. Colonel Lasswell doesn't have any Valor medals, but look at what he's done. Category 2 are for individuals who, after they have served honorably, which means you've got to have an honorable discharge on your DD 214, who, after their service, have contributed significantly to their nation, their state, their city, and their community. When we have a lot of individuals who come out of the military who do some great things for the state and our country. And so it's a way to honor them. Normally we can induct up to 15 people. We try to do that. Right now it's currently 7. It's 7 people. We do 5 from category 1 and 2 from category 2. So to get into the Hall of Fame, what people need to do or can do is go to our website, which is Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame. It's AMVHOF.org. There it will be. There's a section that says nominations. Nominate a person, and you click on it, and you can download the nomination packet. Now, this nomination packet gives you the information you need on the documents you need to have to submit. And some of these documents are mandatory. In other words, and as a secretary, I get the packets, the nomination packets, and I put them together. If that's not there, your packet will not go forward to the special selection board that does the actual selections. And I might add that we have a selection committee that handles the selections, but there is a separate board that is composed of former veterans, a flag rank officer that actually does the selection. They are completely independent of the board. And we try to maintain a very apolitical stance. This is based entirely on the individual's actions, not who he is now or was.
Right. And are the nominations open now?
Nominations are open year round. We close the nominations on a date, sometimes usually somewhere in August. And that's to give us time to, in late July or early August, and that's to give us time to assemble the packets and get them to the selection board and have them go through them and do the selection. And for us to then process the selected inductees and get the information out to them so that we can have them at the banquet.
Right. And as I mentioned earlier, the banquet is very special. I attended last year's banquet. There was a lot of people there. I wasn't surprised to see Senator Bozeman there. He was from my understanding, he's been at every one of them since its inception. He's a strong supporter of that. And you talk about some other involvement you have from our elected leaders.
Yes, we've had several of the elected leaders, especially from national office, attend. One who leaps out at us is Colonel. He's Congressman French Hill, and Senator Cotton wanted to come this year, but he couldn't make it because of other commitments.
Right. And so if someone's interested in helping out, volunteering, is there a way that they can do that? Are you looking for volunteers?
Yes, we need people to help us with we have no staff whatsoever. So all the work that has to be done is done by board members. And of course, that creates quite a burden sometimes for individual board members. So if we can spread the wealth, so to speak, it'd be nice. We have several committees that if people would help us serve on, like Public Affairs Committee, it would be nice. The Funding Committee, which helps raise our funds and our sponsorships, and that's a new program we have as a sponsorship program now because we're privately funded completely. So yes, there's contact information at our website, and with a phone number and a email address and a snail mail address.
And as always, folks can go to your website, get some more information about the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame. You have all of the inductees listed on your website, talks about them. It's a very interesting website. I would encourage folks to definitely check it out.
Yes, it's interesting because we're going to update it now with a we're going to put in a lot more information about the inductees so that later generations of the inductee family can come and actually read and see some of the letters they've written and see get a lot more information from them other than just a description of what they did. We, like for instance, with Colonel Lasswell, we've got letters he wrote to his wife, and he also his letters that he wrote about his actions during World War II and why he did it and how he did it. It's really interesting.
And I believe are some of your past banquets online on your website? You record them?
We do, and we're trying to get, right now we've got DVDs of all the banquets, and some of those are online, and on the new website, we're going to be able to have those on there also.
Right. So it sounds like one of your upcoming and current projects is your website. Do you have any other projects that you're working on?
Yes, we're in the initial stages of developing a scholarship program so that, and what we're going to do is we're going to gear this and target high school seniors who are graduating, who are going to go to college and enter an ROTC program. In the ROTC programs, you really don't get any funding from the government until you've been there, done it 1 or 2 years, I believe. And so that first year is kind of like you're on your own nickel. You don't get anything for doing it. And we're going to help them through that first year in ROTC. This is to help develop military leaders that we have here in Arkansas.
Great. Sounds like a great program. Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Do you have anything you want to talk to us before we let you go?
Yeah, one thing, and it's my interest really several years ago, around the time that they started the Hall of Fame. I was talking to a friend of mine that I worked with when I was on a law enforcement agency here in Arkansas, and I'm retired from that too, by the way. And she was relating to me how that she had a close friend, a relative, an uncle, die out of the Mobile, down in the Mobile, Alabama area, and she was sad because she wasn't going to be able to get down there to the funeral and get back in time for work. And I said, really? And I said, and she told me he was a veteran. And I said, is he a veteran? She said, yeah. I said, are they going to do a military honors for him? And she said, I think they are. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll fly you down there and bring you back so you can go to the funeral. And while we're there, I'll bring my uniform and I'll attend the funeral in that capacity. She said, yes. So we did. We get to the funeral home, and I happened to go over to the Mississippi. It was a Mississippi National Guard honor guard that had showed up that was going to bury him and provide the military honors. And I was talking to them, and they told me, did you know this guy has a Silver Star? And I said, no. And I said, really? And they said, I said, where did he get it? And he said, well, we think he got it in Bastogne during World War II. What this man was a dock worker working on the Mobile docks as World War II broke out. He went into the United States Army. He went into the 82nd Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division, and the 101st Airborne Division, excuse me. And he was at Bastogne when during the 1944 period when the Germans had the Battle of the Bulge. Well, he got a Silver Star for that, and also a Purple Heart. And then he came home after the war, and he was discharged, and he literally put his medals in his fishing tackle box and never said a word to his family. His whole family had no idea at what this man had accomplished, and until the funeral home saw it on the DD 214. And we have so many men like this, and soldiers and sailors and airmen that put on the uniform for whatever reason, and then during their 2, 3, or 4 year enlistment, something happened and they rose and they did something extraordinary. And the military recognized that with a Bronze Star or a Silver Star or a Distinguished Service Cross or a Medal of Honor. And these guys finished up their tour, came home, took off the uniform, went back to the factories and the fields they came from, and never said a word to anybody. These are the people that the Hall of Fame wants to bring to the attention of the people of Arkansas. These are true heroes. And it just, every year, it just amazes me the actions that some of these people have done and the accomplishments they've had.
Well, hopefully folks will see this video. One of the reasons I wanted to do this interview, and they will have a relative that they can nominate and be recognized for their actions in the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame.
We would welcome that.
So thank you for being here today and talking to me, and I'm sure I will be seeing you in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lynn. I appreciate this opportunity, and I wish you and the MacArthur Museum well.
Thank you very much.